Welcome back to the Guardians of Lore, Chapter 6, Bathroom Break. It's hard to imagine a better principal than Principal Lance. He had gray hair down to his shoulders, even though he was bald in the front. He was the oldest person at Stagwood, but he didn't act like it. I had never heard anyone say a bad word about him, and I wouldn't have either. Every year on my birthday, he called me into his office and gave me a candy bar. I know he did the same for Swai, who usually finished this before he got back to the class and showed up with chocolate all over his face. And probably everyone else in my class. Still, he had a way of making me feel like I was more than some kid. Principal Lance's office was small and crowded, but friendly. He had stacks and stacks of dusty books that looked like they were hundreds of years old. I heard that a girl once sneezed on one of them by accident and blew away in pieces. The way the story goes, Principal Lance laughed so hard that he forgot why he had sent for her. But as Swai and I walked into his face, it seemed less friendly than usual. Miss Weaver gave a small awkward bow and left us. As it turned out, Principal Lance wasn't alone. What I saw first in the chair next to us was a yellowish gold bow tie, and then a large grin of Mr. Ream. My stomach dropped. "Have a seat, kids," said Principal Lance. "You've done nothing wrong, but Mr. Ream has insisted that he speak with you, and I insisted on being present. And so with all this insisting going on, here we are." I always liked the way that Principal Lance explained things. Deli moved ever so slightly into my shirt, and I adjusted my posture without thinking. Ream's eyes shot towards me and narrowed. I had expected him to speak to me first, but he turned to Swai with a smile instead. "I don't believe we've met. Hello, Swai. My name is Mr. Ream," he said. "Hello, my name is Swai," said Swai. "Yes, as I said hello, Swai," said Ream, already losing patience. Swai had a knack for making people lose their patience faster than anyone I ever met. My dad called it impressive, but my mom preferred not to talk about it. "Hello," said Swai a second time. "Swai, do you know why I'm here?" asked Ream. "No, do you know why I'm here?" Swai asked back. Ream was about to lose his cool. He turned to Principal Lance. "If you let me speak with them alone, we could be done with this much faster," Ream said. "As I've told you, if you like to speak with my students, you will do it with me present," said Principal Lance. "I'm here as a representative of the school board," Ream said sternly. "And I'm here as caretaker to these children, unless you are the parent or guardian. You may not speak to them without me present," Principal Lance said even more sternly. Swai's face was already covering chocolate from a small bowl that Principal Lance had left unguarded. Ream looked over at Swai, shuddering at the thought of being his parent or guardian. "This will not be brought up in front of the children again," finished Principal Lance. "Very well," resigned Ream. "Swai, I need to know if you've noticed anything unusual in the past couple of days." The conversation was starting just like my head, and that got me worried. The longer Ream questioned Swai or me, the more chances we would have to slip up again, even with Principal Lance there. I could still feel Deli inside my shirt, and I didn't want to think about what would happen if Ream got his hands on her, or if we believed Deli his claws. "Sir, may I go to the bathroom?" I blurted out. "Of course," said Principal Lance. Ream gave the slightest hint of smile. He relished the idea of talking to Swai without me around. Also, I'm not allowed to go without my bathroom pal," I said. "Pardon?" said Principal Lance. "Miss Weaver told us that we have to go with a bathroom pal if we wanted to use the bathroom. I could get in a lot of trouble if she finds out that I went alone." I realized that I was learning how to think on my feet more and more since meeting Deli. It wasn't the greatest lie ever told, but I hope it would do. "Bathroom pal? Seems a little unnecessary at your age. Bathroom Betty has a nicer ring anyway." "Well, so be it. Go on then, Swai," said Principal Lance. I nudged Swai before he could object. "Yeah," said Swai, "I better go with him. He always gets lost without me." So I was the one who had walked into the girls' room by accident, not once, but twice that year already. But I wasn't about to argue with him, not then at least. You can't let them go both, said Mr. Rim. What if they ran away? Interrupted Principal Lance. Would you like me to disable the gateway car just to be safe? He laughed. Mr. Rim, when my students need to use the restroom, they use the restroom. He rose and ushered us towards the door. And that goes for the bathroom pals as well, he said, giving me the tiniest wink. As we walked out, I could tell that Rim was upset, but he dared not to argue against Principal Lance again. Rim knew that we're up to something, but luckily for us, he didn't know what. Not so luckily for us, neither did I. Leading us through the brightly lit hallway, I didn't stop at the nearest bathroom. Instead, I kept walking, looking down at the green tiles under my feet, wondering what to do next. Where are we going? So I asked. I'm not sure yet. We passed the library, then turned the corner and passed two more bathrooms, one for students and one for visitors. Either one would have done if I was actually looking for a bathroom. At that moment, the last place I wanted us to be was somewhere that Reem expected us to be. If that was a book called Dealing with Dragons, I was pretty sure chapter 1 would be, Don't tell the dragon exactly where you're going, then corner yourself, or something like that. After turning the corner to an empty hall, I stopped. If we were going to figure this out, we would need Deli help. What are we supposed to do now? I whispered to Deli inside my shirt. You need to get to your home, Deli answered. It's not safe here anymore. What's she saying? Asked Swai. She said we need to get to my house, I told him. What's at your house? He asked me. What's at my house? I asked Deli. A mop splashed onto the floor and my head flew up to see a custodian, Mr. Celeste, was staring at me. I sometimes talk to my belly button. Sometimes I stammer at him. Me too, said Swai without skipping a beat. He pulled his shirt away from his body, stuck his head down and said, Hey little guy, come on out and say hi. Swai's belly button was sometimes the innie and sometimes an outie, so I wonder if this was actually a conversation that he had had before. Mr. Celeste shook his head and continued mopping in the other direction. I didn't want to risk running into anyone else, so we snuck into the empty auditorium across the hall. When I got inside, I remember that there was an exit behind the stage that would lead us straight into the woods. During play rehearsals, when the auditorium got too hot, they opened the door and let the breeze in. No sense wasting money on air conditioning, Miss Weaver would say. She was the self-appointed director every year since she knew how to deal with stars. I was pretty familiar with the stage area. Not only had I been the first actually weeping willow, I had also been a stagehand, so I knew a little about the stage too. He had tried out for the lead once, but was given the role of crocodile instead. Despite that, he ended up being mentioned in every single review, although indirectly. Was the crocodile supposed to talk? And why did it have an accent? Were two of his favorites. Now the stage exit was our best shot at escaping without being seen. This way, I said, hurrying down the side aisles. The set for the next play was still being built. There was a fake forest and a small hut with pieces of wood scattered all around it. I hadn't paid attention to what the production was, since deciding not to try it out again. So I had gotten a lifetime ban for his crocodile performance, and it wouldn't have been much fun without him. So I had told me that he outgrew the theater. It wasn't until I saw Ben from the theater posters with his face on them that I found out the truth. I led Deli out onto the stage, and then Swai and I hopped up after her. The glowing red exit sign was in sight when we passed the hut, but a loud noise from the front of the auditorium stopped us in our tracks. Get down, yelled Deli. We crouched behind a flat wooden hut. Deli instinctively crouched too, which I thought was strange. Then I saw a terrible news for myself through a window in the hut. It was Reem. and he was being escorted down the center aisles by Mr. Salazar. They came in here. They were acting all odd, talking to the Tommy, said Mr. Salazar. I see. Thank you. That will be all, Reem said with a wave of his hand. Who did you say you worked for again? Asked the custodian. The school board, the one that decides your salary, replied Reem as he strode down the aisles toward us. Mr. Salazar mumbled sometimes I couldn't hear and left the auditorium. Reem was looking down each row of seats as he approached. When he was halfway down, he started speaking. I know that you're in here, he said. Is he talking to us? Whispered Soy. We need to get out of here, said Deli. He'll see us if we run for the exit, I said. Okay then, we need to find a way to make him angry, she whispered. If he really is a dragon, is that such a good idea? Asked Soy. It's the only way, trust me, said Deli. I looked around at the set. I never set out to make an adult angry before, especially one that worked for the school, but this was cause for an exception. My eyes settled on the handwritten sign that I had seen many times before, attached to the switch beside us. It read, Do not touch. I know how, I said shakily, but you need to get closer. Not a problem, whispered Soy. Reem vaulted up onto the stage, apparently finished searching the seats. He was the tallest person I ever seen. If we didn't do something soon, he would find us in seconds. I knew he was hiding something. You've been following these two for weeks now. Haven't you, Delia? Have you finally found him? Reem asked with a villainous grin. So I was about to ask a question, but Deli quieted him with one look. Reem was 10 feet away, right where the set began. Whatever you are going to do it now, she whispered. I lunged to the side, tore through the warning sign to flip the switch. Reem turned his head towards me with a sinister snarl. There was a loud crack from above the stage. A wave of red came crashing down on Reem's head, covering him and the ground completely. I was in shock. The curtain had fallen directly on him, just as I had planned, but seeing it happen startled me. Do you think I hurt him? I asked. I approached the pile slowly, but Deli jumped in front. No, we have to go now, she exclaimed. The pile began to rise from the center. It kept growing until it almost reached the ceiling. In a burst, the curtain was split in two by sharp claws. There, standing in front of us, was the king of